Welcome to the eMedNI computer-based training series for New York State Medicaid providers. This video is part of our enrollment series of tutorials. The purpose of this session is to provide instructions on how to access a provider's enrollment file in the Provider Services portal using a registration PIN. This presentation describes how Medicaid providers gain access to their existing provider enrollment records within the Provider Services portal, PSP. An ny.gov ID business account is required to access the PSP. Refer to the ny.gov ID Quick Reference Guide for instructions on creating an ny.gov ID business account. An email and/or letter will be sent with PSP registration instructions and a registration PIN. If the email address on file is incorrect, providers can update the email address from the emedni.org homepage. As mentioned on the previous screen, an email and/or letter will be sent with PSP registration instructions and a registration PIN to the email and correspondence address currently on the provider's enrollment file. This image is a sample excerpt from a New York State Medicaid PSP registration letter. Please note the highlighted registration PIN to be used in the registration process. If the email address on file is incorrect, providers can update the email address as follows. From the emedni.org homepage, enter change email in the Enhanced by Google search box in the upper right corner. Click on the magnifying glass icon to search. Select Change Email Address for Wage Parity, EVV, and PSP, eMedNI. Select the Provider Services Portal, PSP, application. Then complete and submit the form to update the email address on file. A confirmation email will be sent once the email change request has been completed, usually within 3 business days. Once logged into the PSP, select Provider Services Portal, PSP, Enrollment Access from the available options. In Step 1 of the registration PIN validation process, enter the New York State Medicaid Provider ID number and New York State Medicaid PSP registration PIN found in the registration PIN email or letter mentioned earlier. Click on Confirm to continue to Step 2. Step 1 also has a Reset button to clear all information in the fields and a Regenerate PIN button to regenerate a new PIN that will be sent to the provider's email address on file. Please note, if the email address on file is incorrect and needs to be updated, refer to the Change Email Address instructions mentioned earlier. This is an example of the response that will appear after entering the New York State Medicaid Provider ID number and clicking Regenerate PIN. Only the first 3 letters of the email address will be displayed. In Step 2, enter the last 4 digits of the provider's Social Security number, the provider's NPI number, and the first and last names. Click on Verify. Please note, this example is for an individual practitioner's registration PIN process. Required fields will vary depending on provider type. Once verified, review the PSP registration terms and conditions. Place a check mark in the I certify that I have read and that I agree and accept the terms above. Then click on Submit. From the New York State PSP domain homepage, select the provider's name from the drop-down list, then select Provider Enrollment Access. Click on Go. From the Modification Request Type screen, select Provider Services Portal, PSP, Registration. Make modifications and updates to the provider's enrollment profile where needed, and then submit. Please note, the provider, owner, board member, or managing employee, not a credentialer or staff member, must e-sign and submit the updated enrollment profile. Providers are encouraged to complete the profile update as soon as possible. Important reminders. An ny.gov ID business account is required to access the PSP. Refer to the ny.gov ID Quick Reference Guide for instructions on creating an ny.gov ID business account. An email and/or letter will be sent with PSP registration instructions and a registration PIN. If the email address on file is incorrect, providers can update the email address from the emedny.org homepage. The provider, owner, board member, or managing employee, not a credentialer or staff member, must e-sign and submit the updated enrollment profile. For additional information regarding the Provider Services Portal Registration PIN, please visit the emedny website and refer to the PSP Registration PIN Quick Reference Guide. If you still need assistance after reviewing the PSP Registration PIN Quick Reference Guide, please contact the emedny call center at 800-343-9000. This concludes the Provider Services Portal Registration PIN tutorial. Thank you for joining, and please visit us at emedny.org for additional training resources.